been here 11 and a half years, and then my passion was always health and fitness. So I went working away as a health coach in the mining industry in 2012. And through a series of events, ended up really diving deep into personal development and just thrived on it and loved it, and ended up leaving the mines and basically working from home and just doing a lot of, I do events, I do speaking, I do the masterminds now. They've come to fruition over the probably the last 4 months, and just connecting with other people from around the world who want to personally grow, who want to connect with other like-minded people, who want to maybe mastermind around challenges in their life or certain topics or whatever it may be. And I met Tony probably five years ago. Yeah, something like that, 5 years ago. So, and Tony can share a bit more about himself. But really, we've only really we had a big gap where, you know, life gets in the way and you're doing your own things. And then with everything that we've been doing here with the masterminds and stuff, I said to Tony, I think this would be a good space for you to be involved. And yeah, he's been thriving on it, enjoying it. So.
Can I ask, how do you know each other?
I beg your pardon, sorry.
Can I ask, how do you know each other?
We met at a networking breakfast. Hi, Lisa. Yeah, business networking breakfast. And Martin was there talking about his fitness training that he was offering at the time. And I was feeling somewhat overweight, a bit flabby at that point and needing to do something about it. And
as we all do after 6 weeks of lockdown.
I signed up for Martin's outdoor training sessions, and we became good buddies through that, really. And then for a while, Martin was coming over to our apartment complex and training my partner Joe and myself, and had us, you know, doing boxing. And he's a real sadistic bastard, to be honest. As you're running around till you're nearly throwing up and all sorts.
That was because you overindulged. That was nothing to do with the training.
No, he did us a lot of good, and yeah, we became friends through that. And then I was doing some coaching work with Martin. I do business and life coaching, and he was going through a bit of a career transition at that point, or really trying to figure out what the next move was. And I suppose I've always been into personal development, so I was pointing out a few books for Martin to read and helping him get on track. And he came to 1 or 2 talks or seminars that I gave, and Martin's just powered on since then, and devoured loads of books and done loads of study. And you know, you can tell how much wisdom he's got now because it's made all his hair drop out. His brain's expanding so much.
I've transcended. Yeah, I've transcended my hair just in here.
You think he's sitting on a chair, but he's actually hovering above the ground.
You see, what he lacks in his football club, he makes up in his humour, Julian.
Oh.
Well, what can I say? Like you said, I caught the start of what you were saying there, Julian. You know, United you can only be at the top for, what was it, 20, 30, 26, 27 years. And after that, you've got to give somebody else a turn. It just gets boring otherwise, you know.
No, but I mean, in total fairness, the generation with Keane, with Scholes, with Beckham, with Nicky Butt, with Peter Schmeichel was my idol, to be honest. This kind of time, Dwight York, Andy Cole, Teddy Sheringham, that's...
You forgot Leroy, you forgot Eric Cantona.
Well, I forgot the Frenchie, obviously. But what a team.
We can't accuse you of favoritism there.
You know, it's funny because Cantona had the biggest reputation in England, but he was really not well appreciated back in France.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was too controversial for the national team. They couldn't cope with him.
Yeah. Like Anelka, who has been a fantastic player at Arsenal, and and some, I mean, at some point quickly in Liverpool. But yeah, in France, he was not like at all.
There's a typical saying that a prophet is not welcome in his own home.
True.
And I think it's, not just a prophet, that's for stars anywhere, you recognize. And even with our own families, those of us that are coaches know full well that our families don't recognize what it is that we do. So I think it's a very common thing. Hi, Julian. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Lisa.
Yeah, Julian saw the Mastermind on Eventbrite, just see your word, Lisa, cool. and jumped on for the first time. Yeah, so
hey, welcome. That's exciting. Apologies for being late.
That's all right. So we thought it was just going to be Julian and I, so we're just getting to know each other a little bit more. But Lisa, you can Julian, you can share a little bit about yourself again if you like. And Lisa, feel free to we'll give it 5 minutes and then we'll get into the topic.
Well, women first. So Lisa.
Oh, what a nice man.
I'll just put in an apology before you start. I hope you can excuse me having a bit of red wine. It's dinner time almost, so
Hi, Julian. Yeah, what about me? I'm a bit crazy. I love these calls. I'm so crazy. It took me 20 minutes. I had to re-register to get on this call because I could not find the link. And that happens every single frigging week. Yep. There's something. Thank you, Tony. There is something going on.
I post it every time in the group chat.
I can never find it. I can never find it.
Conversation around it. Yeah. I was going through. Is that the link? Is that the link?
Yeah. So I think I've cut and pasted it because I ended up in the Gold Star call, which of course, because I thought, maybe it's the same link, so I can use that. But no, I couldn't do that. So anyway, Julian, I'm a little bit crazy.
That's fine. We all are somehow.
We are. Some of us are crazier than others.
Pulsating head happening again, Lisa. Where it must be the internet connection, but you've got this kind of vibration around your head. It's like something kind of surreal.
Tony, that's just how I am, mate. That is me. That is what you're seeing, all right? This is me.
It's all the wisdom oozing out.
That's it, absolutely, yeah. So you're Julian, I'm the mindset alchemist and a spiritual doula. And I found a new tagline yesterday. Spiritual doula and the mindset alchemist. And I found a new tagline last night and I can't remember it now. It was really awesome. So I've been teaching people how to fall in love with life. But I didn't.
Can I show my ignorance? What is a doula?
A doula is a birthing attendant, or there are now death doulas who support people through the other end of life. So doula was originally pre-midwives, but there's a big resurgence coming back into helping them birth more naturally.
Right.
And they're not officially recognized, but they are allowed in most Australian states, not all of them. But yeah, they support the mother to make sure the mother has the birth that she wants, not the birth that the medical profession insists she has. So a lot of women now will use a doula instead of a midwife. And it's been around for years, like say pre-midwives. So
do you help women have their babies at home?
No, I don't. I'm a spiritual doula, so I help people rebirth themselves.
Ah. Okay.
I help them as they're going through, and especially now as we're going through this huge change, and we know that we're shedding our skin, that we're being reborn. We know that there's so much going on, and I support people through that process.
So that's kind of like where we've spoken in the past around our beliefs are created through between 0 and 8 from our family. So is it more like the shifting out of that into finding ourselves?
Yeah, it's a combination of things, Martin. The way I describe it, sorry, this is going to take the full 5 minutes, is that people are going through what I call spiritual earthquakes. So yes, a little bit like that, Martin, in that, and we're actually going through a collective earthquake at the moment, a spiritual earthquake. The way I see it is that the ground is being shaken beneath us. So all our truths, everything we've believed to be true, is now being proven to not be true. Education, law, finance, any beliefs. We've built our temples, if you like, on the structures of the system that we're in at the moment. And it's very clear that those are falling apart. So what will happen is people will find that their relationship that they thought was forever suddenly something happens, or their health, or their job, or their finances, or something. And often it's all of them, it's not just one. And what happens, as with any earthquake, we're in a bit of a state of shock. So we're left not knowing where the hell to go. You've just got this huge pile of rubble. And it's like, well, where the hell do I start? So I come in and I help people through that process and to actually find their way through. Because there is always, I'm a big believer, and you know, Napoleon Hill talks about it, there is a gift, or at least the seed of a gift, in every situation. You can't have good without bad. Mm-hmm. So I help people find the gift. So, you know, very much, like I said, working with people where they're at. For some people, it is a major thing. It's this whole, like, I don't even know where to start. And for other people, it's just like, oh, the relationship, no, I need out of here. I don't know how to get out of the relationship, or I don't know how to save the relationship, or don't, whatever. So it's all using mindset. And yes, Martin, it is, a lot of it's based on our core beliefs. But those core beliefs have been so reinforced by society that this is the way we educate. This is the way we do health. This is the way we do finance. This is the way that we have law and order. And it's all falling down.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing is there's a lot of people who are literally in the middle of an earthquake with just masses of debris around them, not knowing where to go or what to do. So I take them as an individual or in groups and help them find their way through, so that they build a more solid foundation and build the life that they want.
What sort of tools or techniques do you use to achieve that?
Oh, look, I'm Mary Poppins Jedi Knight, you know. I've got a carpet bag full of tools, Tony. A lot of mindset stuff. I'm a coach for Bob Proctor, the Thinking to Results coach. I'm also an NLP practitioner. I have a diploma in neuroscience leadership. So it's all the mind stuff. However, I'm also an aromatherapist, and I have a whole load of other stuff as well. So I'm very holistic.
Bring it all
and I never have a set, okay, this is what we're going to do. Because as we're talking, something will come up and we will just go with whatever that is. So I might go into a session thinking, okay, are we going to use this or this? And we'll end up using something totally different. So a lot of NLP stuff, just very basic stuff. I don't use a lot of NLP, but what I do use, I use a lot of. Really, I'm also a past life regression therapist, so I can take people back through that if that's what's needed. Yeah, I just have this huge toolbox, Tony, and often what I use is a mix of them. Yeah, I bring different things together, so I create my own stuff. But I'm an avid seeker of new techniques and new therapies and things to, you know, I go through a lot myself, partly for my own healing and my own growth, but also to think, okay, how can I use this to help those clients who are really stuck? Because we are very stuck at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, there's some of us who have come out the other side and started rebuilding, but there's some who the world's just falling down around them. They're just incredibly stuck, and I just offer that helping hand to get them out and help them rebuild. But it's hard to say, Tony. There's so many different tools that I use from therapy. I'm also a Bowen therapist, and I do remote Bowen therapy healing, and I find that really powerful as well, because that shifts things on a physical and an energetic level, as well as on an emotional, spiritual level.
And you probably have as many answers as personalities and personal circumstances. So I mean, you can't deal with two different people with two different circumstances with similar symptom, but some people can be two different people can have stress or anxiety or whatever, and the cure might be totally different based on their own circumstances.
Oh, absolutely, Julian. And that's, you know, very much, I also have a big interest in traditional Chinese medicine. And at one point it was, do I go down the mindset route, or do I go down the traditional Chinese medicine route? And I chose the mindset. I didn't choose it. I was guided. Sorry?
It must keep you really busy.
I'm not that busy. It's just, I keep thinking I make myself busy, but I'm actually really not that busy. I'm just not a good manager of time. But yeah, traditional Chinese medicine, and this is why it works when Orthodox medicine doesn't, because if you go to a doctor, you can have three of you go with a headache, same symptoms, and the doctor will give you the same medication, the same treatment for each of those. Whereas traditional Chinese medicine, and I work on this with the mind, I truly believe that every physical dis-ease has an unresolved emotional issue that needs to be dealt with. And that's where I take people into that. When they're ready to go there, there's no point taking them if they're not ready to go there. Yeah. But I've done that long before I became a coach. That's how I worked in my Bowen therapy practice, was getting into that deep. And Bowen was a great way to get them into that, because the way I do it, I use singing bowls, I use energy work, and they go to the theta state. So they just open up. We're into the subconscious mind if that's where they're ready to go. Mm. So I don't have to I've never done an NLP session where I have to build rapport, because I've always done it through the Bowen treatment, where they're totally relaxed. And it's not even, sometimes I'll get a call to ask them or say something, or sometimes they'll suddenly blurt something out. Bang, we're off and running. And we go with whatever it does. So I don't have a structure. I do, obviously, with the Thinking to Results program, I do. That's a 6-month program. But when I'm working with people, even within that, it's very much exploring where they're at and helping them, not showing them the way, helping them find the way. Because I can show the way, and we all know this. We've been shown things so many times, but it's only when we find it ourselves that we actually understand it.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioning that, Lisa, and just so we all know, I'm thoroughly fine with where this is going. I think it's really good to dive in and understand more around this. I was thinking around this today in regards to, Dave and I went to a lady who we know. Funnily enough, Julian, she's in marketing as well. This was going back 18 months ago, a year ago, probably 18 months max. And we did a timeline chart. So what we were going to achieve, and we went through what we wanted to do. And it probably actually was 18 months ago. And the reason why I say that was because I was very heavily into the mental health side then. And we planned out all the times of the year when they were like the areas where people, when you're thinking around Christmas and so on and coming together. And then the October, I think from memories, World Mental Health Day and stuff like that. So a lot of those kind of things we were putting in place. And I never achieved any of it. But I changed the total direction. So I went in a completely different direction. Now, what I was literally thinking about this a few hours before the call, and what came up for me was the must have been, and the same for Dave. He didn't achieve any of it either. The must have been subconscious stuff that hadn't been dealt with for us to actually go and take action on that. We did do other things, but at the time they were important and we didn't action any of it. And it's that thing of, we went and we got this incredible plan, but we didn't go ahead and achieve it. And there's so many times that we hear about that, and I'm pretty confident to say we're all probably guilty of it, and going, well, what is the subconscious actually? Because that's what's controlling me. It's not my conscious, it's my subconscious. So what needs to shift inside of there? And as you were saying then, around going right the way back, even when you brought up about past life regression, was it past life regression?
Yeah.
I've had this clear, I know 100% that I committed suicide in past life stuff. I know that's probably a bit full on, Julian, for the first time we've spoken, but I'm very open like that. So then again, sorry.
Scare him away.
Yeah, but that's and I remember I was going through this process with it, and one day I was in the shower and I'm just going through all this and it just felt right. And I said, my mum, I was growing in my mum's womb for 9 months. She went through the pain of bringing me into the world. I was 37 at the time when I realized that I was going through this thing. And I'm like, 37 years I've been going to this point. There's no way that I'm not here right now for no reason. I'm here for a reason. So whatever it is that's going on, and I'm going through all this suicide stuff in my mind and I'm processing it, I'm not letting it get the better of me. I mean, I almost did, but I'm not letting it get the better of me, but I'm actually enjoying the process. And I'm going, this has to be past life stuff that I've committed suicide and I'm back. Because as brutal as this is, I even see the suicide in this house that I'm living in now. Like, I see it as clear as day. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. But I'm like, how can I see it as if it happened like yesterday?
Well, because time is a man-made creation. There is no time.
Correct.
There is no time. And this is the
Fourth
hardest
dimension.
thing for, yeah, it's the hardest thing for us humans to get our heads around this, that there is no time. And I'd love to share, when I did my NLP practitioner's course, timelines are part of an NLP process. And we had to find our own timelines. Yeah. So we have to learn how to do timelines. And we were all taken through as a group, and it's, you know, they ask you, okay, so where is cleaning your teeth this morning? Where is going to work tomorrow? So they ask you all these different questions, and you end up getting generally a distinct direction, which could be any direction, but it helps you to identify whether people are stuck in the past or whether they're stuck in the future or whatever. And I didn't have a line at all. I had what appeared to be very random. And I know it wasn't random, but I didn't make sense of it. I couldn't see the sequence in it at the time. But I had a solar system going around me. And it wasn't logical in a chronological order. Now, if I'd spent enough time there, I probably could have found the order in the chaos, but I didn't. I freaked out because my instructor had no idea what was happening. She'd never had this happen to her. And my whole life, I've gone through this. Things happen to me that nobody has ever come across before. When I did my Reiki, same stuff. And I went home, I shut down because the whole group was just like focused on me because it was so different. And I went home and I did a research, and that is how Aboriginal, how Native people, they don't have timelines because time doesn't exist for them. They have that. So I'm tuned into that, but I'm freaked out because I'm supposed to have a line and I didn't have that. So it's interesting what you were saying there, Martin, about, you know, there is no time, but we're so programmed with this time thing that even now, you know, I can say this and I know it, but can I really, truly understand it? No, I can't. No matter how much time I spend on it, I can't. I just know that I've spent so much time in past memories and future memories that time is a man-made creation. But I can only accept that while I'm here in this human body, that's a construct that I have to live by.
So would you say then that with what you were just saying then, that logically it doesn't make sense, but you feel that it does make sense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you where I really got that more than anything. I don't know if you've heard of Dolores Cannon. She was a past life regressionist. She's written some incredible books, and there's a trilogy, and I'll have to look for it. I can't remember what it's called. And she started off as a hypnotherapist.
On a call,
Sorry?
on another call. Her name came up this week on another call.
Right, yeah. She I was lucky enough to train with her in Perth before she died, about 2 years before she died. She was quite she was about 80 then. But her story was Past Lives Remembered is one of her early books, and it's a great introduction to past life stuff. And she was into hypnotherapy. Her husband was a hypnotherapist in the American Air Force many years ago, and he worked with people on health issues and, you know, weight issues and cigarettes and that sort of stuff. And she was introduced to this stuff. Well, her books, some of hers, they are so out there that my mind cannot possibly comprehend it. So my mind is going, well, that's bloody stupid. My heart's going, no, this is true. My heart knows. In here, I know it's true. I don't know how it's true. I can't explain it. And I've lived my whole life like that. You know, something's come up again recently is that as a kid with mathematics, I always got the answer right, but I always got the workings out wrong. But I didn't know how I'd worked it out. So I couldn't create a system, said this is how I did it. Every time I went in, I would get the right answer, but I always got it wrong because the workings out was wrong. I've always said I'm not from this planet. I'm an alien. I live in a different world. And my biggest challenge has been adapting to living in this world. And I'm getting there. I'm getting there, but it's taken me 50 something years to get to this point where I'm comfortable being in this, what I felt is confined. I've felt for years that my body is confining me. This isn't who I am. This is this much of who I am. I'm everywhere. I'm energy, and I'm not even just in this galaxy, this universe. But being able to do something with that.
Sorry, the event we were at a couple of weeks ago, he started diving into some really deep stuff, and it was the event was not about this, but he was like, how deep do you want me to go? And everyone was like, just keep going, this is awesome. Because everything was around Think and Grow Rich, the universal laws, and he was really explaining it as in like the how we're so connected, but we've really got to tune into it, and we've got to be open, because the problem is we let this get in the way. We're trying to make everything appear logically, and he was going through, and he said to me, and I might make a balls of this, but he was saying that we're currently closing Pisces, which is the dark ages, and we've been living the dark ages, and we're like, if you imagine a circle, right to we're in the final piece of going into the light, where there's going to be a huge shift. And that's why it's so hard for a lot of souls does Joe know a lot about this?
Joe's going nuts in the background because we were just talking about this before the call.
Everything's perfect.
There are no coincidences.
Hey, Joe. Wow.
Hi, Joe.
Just blowing my mind.
Well, I usually blow your mind, don't I?
Yeah. And you as well, Lisa. Oh my God.
It's so. And he was, and I think we're going into from Aquarius. I think that's where we're going.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
And he was saying like, this is where why so many people feel lost, that why there's so much confusion going on, and that. And one of the things that came up for me with what you just said then, Lisa, was about, I'm not from this world, I'm not from this planet. And one of the things that I asked myself, especially when I was going through like my dark time, was, why did I choose to come here in this time? Why didn't I come later on, or why didn't I go earlier? Why am I here now when I clearly am being challenged to not want to be here? Is that something that you've worked on for yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look, I've been through what you've been through, Martin, or a lot, not the same, obviously, because everybody's different, but I've been to that point of suicide. My father committed suicide when I was a child. And when I reached his age, I was very suicidal, very depressed, a lot of stuff. And like you, there was a lot of, and then that was my exploration into a lot of this stuff. Well, I'd already started my journey into a lot of this exploring, but really it was only as I started to do some past life stuff and other stuff that I started to see the bigger picture. And I was able to see that, okay, I'm playing a role here, and part of my contract, whether I like it or not, is to learn whatever it is I need to learn to be what I need to be while I'm here. And look, there have been times, even very, very recently, I'll tell you, the last 3 weeks, there have been times when I've been suicidal again. I know on a deeper level that it's not going to happen. I know that. Yeah. But the other morning, I was so angry when I woke up. I was so freaking angry that I woke up. It was just like unbelievable. And it's been coming, like it used to be a slide into it. Now I'm perfectly all right at 1 minute, and the next minute, bang, I'm down. It doesn't last as long as it used to, maybe 24 hours. But I'm down and I'm out. I don't get out of bed. I don't do anything. I have the knowing though, that this is just part of the process to clearing out more shit. And I'm just going to sit with it and acknowledge it, even embrace it if I can. Because every time this happens, I learn something more about myself. And I learned a long time ago that what I used to label depression and heavy, negative, bad, all that kind of stuff is actually my most powerful time. And I liken it to being a seed in winter. I'm gathering the nutrients when I learn most about myself. It's not when I'm high and I'm helping others. Yes, I do learn, but I learn most about myself and what I'm here for and what I need to learn from those deep, dark places. So I actually embrace that now. Doesn't feel like it when I'm in it, but I do. I allow it. I don't fight it. I don't do anything. I know on a deeper level that I still have work to do here. So I'm not going anywhere just yet. I also know that if I am going, that's fine too. And it's interesting on this point of suicide that is so prevalent at the moment. I'm going to put my neck out here because I come from a very different perspective on so many things. Okay. But I consider this a safe space. And my belief is that the reason we're seeing so many suicides at the moment is because we all know that nothing changes until we're in pain. And my belief is that these people have come here on their soul contract to wake us up.
Yeah.
Because everybody who's been, everybody who's been affected by suicide at some level lives their life differently. And that's what I'm seeing on a bigger perspective, that they've come in to meet their soul contract to wake the fucking world up. And we're going to see more of it. Yeah. I personally don't see it as a bad thing. Personally, having been on the edge of it and played around with this for a long time now, I see this just as part of it. I don't see anything anymore as good or bad. It just is. And when we can learn to accept it as just is, everything works. You know, I'm looking at clients of mine, their son committed suicide last year. And I'm looking at the stuff that they were going through, the challenges we had before then. We didn't know he was suicidal, but the challenges we had before then with their parenting and for a whole load of things that they were going through. And they weren't learning. They weren't getting the lessons. Oh boy, have they got those lessons now in the most dramatic way possible. But that's what happens. You know, most of us will know, Martin, that point was the turning point in your life is, oh my God, I've got a purpose here.
Absolutely.
Chronic fatigue was, for me, took me out completely. And I say in my book that the reason chronic fatigue took me out was because I needed to slow down. And if I'd got cancer, I would have fought cancer. And I needed to learn to go inside. I already lived my life at 110 miles an hour. I needed to go inside. And cancer wouldn't have allowed me to do that. Because I would have fought it, because that's what we do. We fight cancer. So I had chronic fatigue syndrome. So I couldn't have had a conversation like this. I couldn't bear light. I couldn't sit here with the curtains open. I couldn't have a light on. I couldn't bear noise. I couldn't sound anything. When there's no external stimulation, sooner or later, you got to go in whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
And that's what I was forced to do. And that's why I got chronic fatigue syndrome and not cancer or something else.
Yeah, Wayne Dyer spoke about that and said we're constantly opening the doors outwards, but we need to start opening the door inwards.
The doors inwards, absolutely, absolutely. But I truly believe, Martin, and Bob talks about this, is that the only way we get change is through repetition and emotional impact. And emotional impact very rarely feels positive at the time. But there is always, always, always a beautiful gift in there. And that's what I help people do, is find that gift and rebuild the life that we're meant to be living, not the one that we've been conditioned to live. So that's probably a bit out there. Julian, welcome to the group.
This is kind of what I was expecting, but I definitely appreciate sharing the safe space and the openness and the authenticity that you're all sharing. To be frankly honest with you, that's remarkable. But that's also a topic where, to be frankly honest with you, afterlife, that's something I don't discuss about. I don't know much about. Spirituality is something I'm pretty aligned with all my life, but spirituality is not something I've really explored. So I don't have much input. I appreciate yours, but I don't have much input. The only thing I would suggest in regard to change what I've come to realize recently is that people want change, but they're not ready to change. And you can't have change without changing. You can't. I mean, I think that the definition of insanity, it's keeping doing the same stuff, expecting a different outcome. So I think if you, I mean, it's easy to say, but if you want something different, you need to do something different. If you keep dating the same kind of guy or girl, well, maybe not the right one. Or, but also change is really hard. I read a book. I don't know if you've guy came across it. It's called The Compound Effect. Has been a massive eye opener for me. Essentially, the biggest change in your life don't happen because you do big stuff, but for all the small stuff you do every single day.
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge is to actually start the machine. It's kind of a locomotive. It's kind of, it's the hardest is at the start. It's like you take a gym membership for 6 months because you have to. And the hardest is the first 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 session. After that, it's all good. But it's when you start to implement a new habit in your life, this is where it's the hardest. And people, including myself, clearly, you tend to focus on how hard is it at the start. But actually, it gets easier and easier as it's like everything. Like the first time you rode a bike, the first time you wrote, the first time you read a book, the first time you cook, whatever. No, you look at backward and it was pretty easy. But when you start something new, like if you ask me to push weight, I'm going to laugh at you because that's not what I like doing. But the concept is I think, yeah, I'm personally doing a lot of different things at the moment. I'm trying to change. But you can't expect change if you don't change yourself, basically.
Yeah. And that's where the emotional impact comes in. And this is why we're seeing this on a global scale at the moment, because people are not willing to make the change. So we're being forced to make the change.
Absolutely.
And of course, nobody likes to be, it's not that people don't like change. They don't like being forced to make change.
I don't think people like change. I think we all like to be comfortable. Because change is confronting. Change is unknown. Change can require courage, and sometimes it's just easy to stay on your bed, in your pajamas, and just don't do anything.
It's funny that this came up because I did a post today that was about similar to on this topic, and I'm just going to read it from Facebook now. We need you to make a difference. If you're ready to experience more and impact others, our life gets better when we take ownership for it, because the only person who can change your life is you. People who choose to fear the word change will never experience more than they already have. So to experience more through change, we need to take better actions each day. Now, believe it or not, we already have the answers within. And through the power of great questions, we are able to extract that information. If there is one thing I've learned about how to experience a better life, it's to challenge myself daily through real conversations and listening without judgment to others. Learn knowledge from others allows us to think better and therefore take better action. Masterminds have become an important part of my week, and I choose to share my experience value with others to help them, whilst I too learn and grow. There will always be people who sit on the fence and watch others whilst life passes them by, and that's fine. Although, do you really believe you came here to just watch life pass you by? Pretty powerful, considering that's what was put out this morning. And that's what the conversations we're having tonight.
Totally agree with you. That's a really good message, Martin.
That's good. That's phenomenal. Like it's exactly like we just saw before when we were talking around what's happening with the world. I mean, on universal level, and Joe came in. You know, it's like wow.
Yeah.
The synchronicities are phenomenal.
I think Marcus Aurelius said something along the lines of that nothing should surprise us.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing probably.
Yeah.
You know, that there's always what seems ridiculous or incredible or absurd. It just is what it is, and it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Things don't just happen by complete randomness. That we get the lessons we're meant to learn. We chose to tune into this call tonight for a reason, that we were meant to learn something or share something.
Absolutely.
By the way, Julian, we're not usually this in depth in these masterminds.
Don't get me wrong, I love
it's pretty special. So it's obviously.
I can't bring much into spirituality and afterlife because there are topics that I don't know. And society, I've been fortunate not to have to confront it. So I don't want to share something I don't know anything about. So.
Julian, though, there must be something that you've experienced. I mean, you've emigrated, presumably. You're living from France. You're now living in Australia.
Yeah.
So you've gone through change in your life.
Yeah.
Please don't change that accent. That's awesome.
Yeah, the accent hasn't changed. No. 7 years in the making, but still as French as Eric Cantona, mate.
How long have you been over in Australia, Julian?
7 years.
7 years. And why did you choose to move, if you don't mind me asking?
To make it simple, just wanted to, because obviously I got in 7 years, I got this question asked probably 5,000 times. No offense, that's normal. I would have asked you the same actually. But long story short, I was not really fulfilled as a human being in France, and I wanted to start a new chapter of my life. And I'm really glad I made this move 7 years ago. I'm definitely a better version of myself now. There's been a bit of it has been a journey. Whatever you stay in Altona or you travel 7 countries in 7 years, you always learn. But for me, it has been a big eye opener, and especially the last couple of years. I think, for me, from my personal experience, the more I grow, the more I mature, the more you also live and experience different things and different kind of feelings and a roller coaster of emotion and relationship ups and downs and family ups and downs and we all have those things. So you just be a bit. I think for me the main thing at the moment is getting a bit more aligned with my values, and I think I underestimated them. And I think when I feel myself. Is that English? I feel myself more fulfilled when I align my values, my action, and my thinking. But it's really hard. It's not always easy.
Yeah,
that's exactly what we've been talking about for the last few sessions.
Well, funnily enough, tonight's session was actually that I'd put together was called "Your Values Could Be Limiting Your Success." So what we'll do is, because we've only got 8 minutes before the hour marks here, we'll do that topic next week and the next Thursday, because I know Lynette and Adam, who couldn't make it tonight, they really wanted to dive into that.
I'm going to be away in the Cocos Islands next week.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, how exciting!
Or not. So I might not have internet, so I might not be able to connect.
Yeah.
You just connect anyway. You don't need this to connect. You just connect.
I might be underwater. I might be scuba diving at the time.
Yeah, that's all right. It's just your energy. It doesn't matter if it's up there, down here.
I can feel Tony coming in. Hang on. There's someone coming through. We're so connected.
Please enjoy for us. We are not able to move more than 5K radius, so please enjoy for us. Tony?
Yeah, of course, Victoria. Yeah.
Oh, you Victoria. Oh.
Well, we're very lucky here. The Cocos Islands are part of Western Australia, apparently. So it's a 4-hour flight to get there, but it's included in WA.
Well, I was thinking that I might come back to Australia because I can't get back to Bali. But they've capped people coming back into Australia. There's only like 4,000 a week or a month or something. Really stupid amounts. The flights are coming back 90% empty because they're not allowing people in. Even people who are like myself, who are citizens, they're not allowing them back in.
Yeah, wow.
Oh. Well, if you did come back in, you'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks, probably.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that, but it was just.
You just want to get out the UK, don't you, Lisa?
How did you know?
I can understand it. Who could stand?
I am surrendering. I am surrendering to the process. Yeah, I am surrendering to the process, and know that I am where I'm meant to be. Whether it's where I want to be or not is completely
We don't
irrelevant.
we get what we need. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you know, being here has been off purpose. I mean, there's no way. I mean, my kid's father died earlier this year, and I was able to spend time with him and them and support them through that process. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was anywhere else. You know, one of the most powerful times in their lives. So, you know, I know that there's gifts in here, and I do look for them. Sometimes it's cold, and even when it's warm, it's cold, like the sun's shining and it's cold. Sometimes I just want to be warm.
Yeah.
I want to go home to Bali. I want my massage. I miss my massage more than anything.
Yeah, me too.
I want my weekly massages.
Yeah, what we started with, Julian, just so that you're aware, when we came here, there's, because of the minds that are on the calls, like Tony and Lisa, myself and Corey, and, you know, even yourself with the work that you've done as well, because you wouldn't be attracted to this even if you haven't read the book. There's still things that you have come across that are relatable in the book. And sometimes people just think, oh, all we're going to do is talk about Think and Grow Rich, but Think and Grow Rich just really incorporates the universal laws. And when we learn them from Bob, we learn them from other people, Oprah, whoever it may be, it's all coming through, and we've just got to pick it up. So when we started, I started with a structure with regards to facilitating the calls, and that we always went, the first thing was core values. The second one was your goals. The third was your daily habits. And the fourth was your accountability. And that worked really well for people coming in. But then once you've gone through it all, or maybe twice, I'm not saying that we've always got them right and we're always on them and we're always taking that daily action to achieve them, or even reviewing our values. But at the same time, we found that the conversations ended up going like this. We jump on, and before we'd even get into any form of what we would class as structure, we were just in flow. And that really goes back to what Lisa was saying earlier on around that, just letting go and just trusting in the process and not having an attachment to it. So I really stepped back and said, well, this is taking its own course. All that it needs really is for me to come on and just start the call and have a topic. But if we end up diverting and going somewhere else, that's perfectly fine, because this is where the conversation needs to go. And even though you couldn't relate from the suicide stuff, there was certainly still a lot that was involved there. And yeah, this is definitely the deepest we've gone from that angle. But it's perfectly fine.
It doesn't mean I didn't appreciate the talk. It's just that I couldn't share. So I'm not.
And there's no expectation as well. When we actually start these calls, I know that Tony and Lisa will be getting burpees because they came on late. But they
well, I was right in my comment.
Find a link to get in.
Yesterday calls.
No excuses. Ownership.
Yeah.
And but so what we do is we always go through the principles, and the principles set the foundation of the call. And it really is just honoring that we are all showing up in our raw, authentic self. And wherever the conversation goes, there's no judgment. We're just holding space for each other. We're supporting each other. We're giving our own perception based on our experiences, what we believe. And each of us, as I said, respect that. So I'm glad that what you said earlier on, you've enjoyed it to this point. As I said, the topic we didn't get into, but it certainly had so much power. And I learned a lot more about Lisa, and I've known Lisa for several years now. And getting to know her more through the masterminds. But that blew me away, and I just realized, Lisa, I've been waiting to do past life regression work, and maybe now's the right time for me to do that, and it's with Lisa, because as well, there's also that thing of trust. And just back on what I said around the topics, the topic that we were going to touch on, which is, I've got it written down here. I did ask the question of, are your values limiting your success? And most people would say no, because they think that they are aligned. Well, at this event that I did, the next course they dive deeper into values. And he said, you've never done values like this. You may have done values exercises, but I guarantee you've not done them. Well, the next day when I went back and had like a post-event talk, I said to him, well, these are my values. And told him my 3 values. And he went, they've served you to this purpose, but they're not going to get you to where you want to go. And I was like, whoa, because they were just so ingrained. And the great values in regards to, well, that's a judgment, but the great values in regards to me. And he said, they're definitely you're showing that, but they are not going to take you to where you need to get to. I'm telling you now. So then you step away and logic kicks in, your logical brain kicks in. It's going, well, what are they then? I need to know. Surely it can't be anything else. I need to be this. This is who I need. It's like, wow. So I know that this topic is going to be, especially with some of the questions that I've got lined up when we do it, and we'll do it again, Tony, if you're going to miss it,
Yes, please.
because it's going to be really valuable. And I know when I do this course in a month or two, more stuff's going to come up for me. So
our values change. They don't stay the same. Have you ever done the DeMartini values process?
I did. I think I haven't done it with John, but I did it with a friend of mine that had done it with John.
You can do it online, but it's really powerful because we're conditioned to have values that society says we should have. Honesty. Everybody will put honesty as their value, but they'll pick up a pen from work or they'll take something home. That is not honesty. We say that's our value, but if we see something, we'll pick it up.
There.
Yeah.
Oh, listen to Julian. Bloody hell.
Always Brandon Frenchy, yes.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying, that we say that these are our values because those are the values that society values. They're not our true values. None of us are completely honest, not even with ourselves. Okay, so we can't say that honesty is a value. But John DeMartini has a beautiful process for anybody who's interested, where you just go through and you look at the things around you. There's 13 questions. What are the 3 things that surround you? What are the 3 things you think about most? What are the 3 things you spend your money on? What are the 3? And there's 13 questions, and you will come up with your values, and they are not what you think they're going to be. Because I know I was shocked with mine, because I always put financial freedom right at the top. It came up once in 39 times. Well, that'll explain a few things then, won't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Personal development and volunteer work did come up. They were very high, and they are my highest. And as soon as I was able to link financial freedom to them, for me to be able to serve in both of those areas, then it became higher up. But when I looked at what those values are, and John says our values will change. When you have kids, your values change.
Yeah.
If you haven't got kids, you don't value any of that stuff. But when you've got kids, everything changes. So our values change. They're fluid. They're not locked in. Yeah. But society has the values that we're taught. What are your values? And you go, and we've got lists of words, and you go through them. Yeah, it's this, this, and this. But those are society's expectations. They're not our values. So I'm interested to learn more about this one that you've done.
I'll dive into John's before I actually do the event, because he's very, very good friends with John. So I'm wondering if it's similar.
Probably very similar. Yeah. It's the only one I know. Every other one I've had has got variations, but it's basically on this list of words, which is, which ones resonate most with you.
Yeah, well, that's what I've mainly done.
Some form of that. Whereas John's, it's 13 questions. You get 3 answers for each, and your values will become very clear because you'll have most of those, because the answers will cross over. What do you think about most, and what do you spend your money on most? And,
good man, Julian. Thank you.
Yeah, well done. I was going to send a PDF of it, but that's awesome. So that's just your sign up.
You got me really curious, yeah.
Sorry.
You got me really curious. So thanks for.
The
exercise.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't want to sign up, it's just, you just sign up into his link, but you can always unsubscribe afterwards. But if you don't, I do have it as a PDF that I can send through if anybody wants it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's one that I use.
We all receive too many emails, so if we can avoid one, that would be great.
Another thing is DeMartini does really well is the whole impact of change. So that the quantum breakthrough or collapse process that he does
And it's very
You
powerful.
put the positive, you know, you talked earlier, Lisa, about the positives and negatives having to be inherent in every situation. And he really delves into that in a big way.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work with John.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
very lucky. Yeah, and I very nearly became a consultant of his, but Bob's resonated more with me. So,
yeah.
Cool.
So that's another whole topic. And also you mentioned about the NLP and past life stuff. You know, we could do, I know that might scare a few people away if they haven't been exposed to any of this sort of thing. But when I was doing my NLP training, we actually had a professor who came over from California who runs the NLP Marin Institute in California. Carl Buchheit, have you ever come across him? So he was doing a lot of work over, we had him for the whole weekend, and he was taking people journeying back into their ancestry and he was explaining how you have to resolve the problems of previous generations. If they haven't been resolved, it gets carried forward to you to resolve.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
I've been doing a lot of this kind of stuff on myself over the last few years, and it's come up again. I'm just sending this link through. Let me know if it works.
Another thing I had a big connection with going back through 2014, especially we were traveling, 2007 we were in Egypt, so going to the pyramids, going to all the ancient Egyptian temples and artifacts and so on, and then going through South America and going to the Mayans, the Incas. You know, we did Machu Picchu, we went to Chichen Itza, some of the Mayan temples, Uxmal and so on. This incredible connection where you feel this energy coming off the stones. When you look at, you're touching these stones and they've been put there thousands of years ago by other generations. There's just that incredible sense that, going back to what you were talking about, that time really is a human construct, and that there's just this incredible surge of connection with past lives that I couldn't put it into words at all. It was just had to be there.
Yeah, and I get that.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And going even into the Amazon, you know, and you've got trees there that are hundreds of years old, thousands of years old. Some of them. It really is amazing.
There's so much that you know, for an intelligent species, we waste this intelligence. It's wasted on us as humans. That's for sure. We don't.
And like you said,
for the wrong stuff.
I did some work with Aboriginal elders a couple of years ago. I was doing a documentary I got into filmmaking, another brief excursion. And we did a documentary where we were going interviewing Aboriginal elders, and the wisdom when you actually get talking to these guys that's being passed down from generation to generation. Western civilization just didn't get it. They didn't grasp. It's an entirely different frame of reference. Yeah, I mean, you could do whole sessions on that, Martin, as well.
Yeah,
you know, cultural difference.
Oh, there's so much that we could cover. I think that's awesome. That link, I'm going to have to put it in the group. Julian, are you in your Desired Success group?
I'm not, but I might have been lucky. Give me 20 seconds.
All right, because I can't upload it as a file. So.
Well, we've got another session starting in half an hour. Is it, Martin?
Yeah, in 20 minutes, the Gold Star call. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I better go grab my dinner, I think.
What I'll do, Lisa, I'll make you a co-host, and that should give you the option to add a file.
The option is here, but when I go into my computer, it won't bring it up. I'm having such fun challenges with technology at the moment.
Did I read that you're not going to be on that call, Martin?
Yeah, no, I'm presenting a 2-day event this weekend, so I've still got my presentations to finish, and Beth's making the booklet to suit it the whole weekend. So I've the whip's cracking here for me to get it done before it all gets printed tomorrow.
Corey's doing it, isn't he? I'll be on it.
I'm hearing a lot of excuses, you know, and time is contract, so.
You know, I had to have a little chat with myself and say, look, mate, come on, you've got to put this as priority. Otherwise, even though she's not my wife, they do say happy wife, happy life. So
You do, and they're right.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's important that we actually do sit down and do what is right, not what we want to do.
Well,
oh, well done. Thank you, Julian. Well done. How did you manage to get that? I'm impressed.
It worked. Good on you.
I saw that the document was named Value Determination Process. I just copy-paste this in Google and put PDF.
Oh, well, there we go. Thank you. So I've got it on my computer, but I can't upload. There we go. So you've got it.
Is that the one?
Yeah, it works for me.
Looks like it. Looks like it. All right, if it works for you, Martin, it'll do it. So yeah, so I'd love to know. Julian, you're going to have to join Your Desired Success group so we can keep communicating. I'd love to know what. I'd love to know what your values are, and it is worth doing it every 6 to 9 months because they do change.
Well, I was doing it every 90 days, but I was doing it the other way. So I'll do it now, John's thing, and see where I go.
Yeah, just see. Yeah, but I'd be interested to know whether it's the same.
Yeah. Oh, I am.
As the one that you're doing. Yeah, but yeah, just have some fun with it, and it is. It's very enlightening. Very enlightening. It's just like, wow, I'd never thought of that as my values.
Yeah. Well, I know that you mentioned, just on a side note, I know you mentioned earlier on, Julian, about getting too many emails. The only email that you'll get from Your Desired Success from the registering for the call is a notification to say the call starts in 60 or 90 minutes, whichever one it's on. So, but in that if you're on Facebook, there is a button to click to join the Facebook group. And that's where we communicate in there's a notification about the mastermind. But what we do is we always go and share our 3 biggest takeaways from the mastermind call in there. And we can just stay in touch with people. And it's another way to build the relationships and be surrounded by like-minded people. And so if you want to join that, you're more than welcome to.
Weekly catch-up or monthly catch-up or?
I beg your pardon?
Is it a weekly catch-up or
weekly
monthly catch-up?
Yeah. Okay. So we do a call on a Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Perth time, which is 11 a.m. for you on a Wednesday. And then this call on a Thursday evening. So, and that's to accommodate the different time zones around the world. So with Lisa being in England, she's not on the Wednesday morning one. She comes on the Thursday evening one. So yeah, the goal is to support
FOMO around that.
Possible. What was that, Lisa?
I said serious FOMO around that. That's another reason why I've got to get back to this other this other thing. And I missed Mark's call last night. I had too much going on. So I missed his call Monday and Wednesday. Normally I do one or the other of them, but I missed.
Yeah, I did.
I missed that last night as well.
So look, I'm going to have to wrap this up, and I'm conscious of the time. But I just want to say thank you, first of all, Julian, for choosing to come and join us. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you and hear a bit more about yourself. And thanks for sorting the PDF out as well and the link. Yes. And thanks Tony and Lisa for the value shared, and especially Lisa for diving in deeper and sharing more with us, which was just absolutely epic. And as I said, we are definitely going to have a conversation around doing some deeper work together with that. It's always been coming, but it's definitely going to be the right time now. So thank you for sharing.
And Julian, I would love to connect. Sorry? Yeah, I would love to connect with you because I still don't know anything about you other than you're French living in Perth or living in Victoria.
We might catch up next week or the following one.
That would be awesome.
Look, I think we all learned something new tonight, and I think that I personally love when everyone gets to learn something new. And look, I think you're going to have further discussion regarding your experience with Mars. So I think it's for me it was valuable. I'm definitely going to read this and do this test. Always to do those kind of things. So really thank you for that, and looking forward to the next one.
You're welcome. And if you can make next week, Julian, at this time, we'll be doing the values. So if you do that exercise, it'd be interesting to see what values you think are yours now and what comes out of that exercise.
Okay.
Yeah. We might put that in the group and see where people are at for a really powerful call.
Yeah. And feel free to reach out on Facebook, Julian, if you want to. It's good. I don't have your surname, so I can't connect with you. But...
Okay.
All good. Right. I'm going to have to run. So once again, thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your evening. If I don't see you before, well, I am going to speak to you before you go away, Tony. So we'll finish that call that we're having. Okay.
Right.
Take care,
Tony,
everyone.
go have your dinner. I'll see you in 15 minutes. Martin, I'll speak to you soon.
Martin.